Hey guys, it's another Thursday at 2 p.m. It's the Myles show. So, during our all season from season 1 till now, we've been talking about anxiety, panic attacks, but we haven't looked at stress. So, today we'll be looking at stress, how to manage stress, especially at home, because you might be having a very toxic home environment, and we need to know how to control the toxic environment at home. Today we're gonna be looking at how to manage stress, and today I have the guest we all like, Lorna, with us again. We're gonna look about stress with Lorna. Thank you, Lorna, for joining us again.
Thank you so much. I'm humbled to be here.
Number. I see today is a good day for you, looking all fresh.
Yes.
Or now you're used to the Thursdays
Yeah, true.
being told to come and do the Myles show.
Yes.
All right, Lorna. So today we're gonna look at stress. You can even start off telling us what stress is, and because sometimes even stress is also confused with anxiety and also depression. So you can start off with telling us what stress is.
Okay. So basically, stress is when you are overwhelmed by a specific occurrence or a specific condition or a specific experience that causes you to have maybe a lot of thoughts in your mind. So it affects your physical, it affects your emotional, it affects your mental, even affects your social being, because it's something that is all rounded. So stress is something that comes because you're not able to sort out something specific, which leads now to something stressful. Yeah. And it's very different from depression, because remember, depression is something that it's a medical condition. That is, you're sick, the stress has become too much, it has gone to depression. So it's not the same as depression, and it's most definitely not the same as anxiety, because when you're anxious and when you're stressed, those are two very different things. You could be stressed and not anxious. You could also be anxious and you're not stressed. Yeah. So those two do they have a correlation, but they don't really intermarry. They're not the same thing. Yeah. So stress is something that comes as something overwhelming, that comes because of a specific occurrence or a specific environment, a specific situation that you have that may tamper with your physical, emotional, and mental well-being. Yeah.
All right. So I don't know for you as a counselor, but for me, I've heard that people always say, "Oh, I'm being stressed at home. Oh, my dad is stressing me with I should do this career. Oh, my mom is doing this. Oh, my brothers are doing this. Oh, my mother-in-law." I don't know as a counselor if you've ever had a situation whereby your client is coming and complaining or saying that the environment at home is toxic and is stressful for them. So you can also let us know how how stress and family is related. Can you let us know about that?
Okay, so we must understand that stress is a normal occurrence of life, and family everyone is born in a family. Everyone has somewhere where they can say this is family. It does not have to be your birth parents, does not have to be your wife or your spouse or your husband or whatever. It could even be a family where you say maybe my extended family, my uncles, my aunties. It could even be a family of a group of friends where you say this is family, because family is where the heart is. Yeah. So yes, I have gotten very many occurrences, especially in marriage life, of people who say, family is stressing me up. And we usually call it family stress, stress that comes from the family. And they're related because family is something dynamic, Your family and my family are very different. You could be going through a specific occurrence in your life that I'm not going through. And it's something that you have to be, it's permanent. I can't change my parents, for example. I can't change my spouse, for example. I can't change my child. But it comes because we know that family is a normal part of life. The same thing with stress. We can't say, no one would lift up their hand and say, I've never been stressed in my life, because that would be a lie. We all go through different periods of stress. It's just how do we manage the stress. Yeah. So family and stress are very much related, and most often than not, you'll find people say that my stress comes from the family, because sometimes you find it's very overwhelming, and sometimes you feel, wow, what do I do next? Because this is family, this is me, this is who I am. You find maybe teenagers talking of, I'm stressed at home. My dad is not understanding me. My mom is making noise at me every day. I'm stressed. Yeah. So it is a very important notion to know that your family can cause stress and how to even handle that stress. Yeah.
So still on that, what are some of the causes of stress that you know of? leave alone just at home, but just generally, what are some of the causes of stress? Because sometimes, also, like for example, let's say if your dad or mom is, or even your wife is calling you out, every day is complaining, because even them, they might be going through a stressful situation. So, what are some of the causes of stress, especially at home?
Okay, so at home we have different causes of stress. The first one is, especially right now, what is happening, most of the families are being affected by something called financial stress, where you find maybe a breadwinner, the husband of the family, is not able to provide for the family, maybe they lost their jobs, or even other financial stress where maybe a strain comes in. Maybe you have 6 children or 5 children and you're not even able to take them all to school, so there's that financial stress. And that's why I think there was a time I was talking about a day I went into town and just stood in the middle of the road, and I was just wanting to know, what are people thinking? I just wanted to do my own kind of research, and I realized people are so stressed. People are so anxious. People are so busy. People are on the run. Most times, I wish I had an opportunity even to get like a few views. I would understand maybe you're rushing to go nowhere, and you find maybe a husband, because of the stress at home, financial stress at home, you find even he wakes up, he wears a suit just to go to somewhere and sit because he doesn't have a job, and he can't tell his wife, by the way, I'm not able to work, but because of that strain of the family. So we have financial stress. We also have relationship problems. This one comes in different ways. We have relationships between siblings, brother, sister. We have relationship between parent and child relationships where they could be a strain. The one we all know, coupled relationship, husband, wife, or maybe what's the word, girlfriend, boyfriend, of course in a state of family. So relationship problems where you find maybe there's no lack of communication, there's a certain strain. We know relationship is dynamic. You find today we are okay, tomorrow we are quarreling. So that could also be another cause of stress in the family. Another cause of stress is, a change in a specific development. For example, we used to live somewhere, but because of something specific, let's say the husband says, I've gotten a job to go to Nakuru, and I live in Nairobi. So again, I have to pick all my children and all the people, change them from the school. It could even cause stress even to the children because they were in this specific school. Now we have to move them to a specific school. So a change in something, a new development or a new addition to the family. For example, the one we all know is a child to the family. That could cause stress, because maybe especially a new couple, they're used to just being the two of them. Now here is the mother taking all her time and energy on the child. So of course the father feels, hey, what happened to me? What happened to the love that we had? Maybe they're no longer joking. She's moody all the time. She's tired because of having to not sleep throughout the night taking care of the baby. And in that aspect, we also have additions to the family. You find sometimes in-laws coming in to live with you, maybe for a specific purpose. Maybe we have moved to Nakuru and we are near our mom, so she decides because home is too far and she's going through stress, her own stress, she comes over. So it causes that kind of, may cause stress in the family because you're not able to know. We used to live me and my children. Now it is me, my wife, my children, my in-laws and all that. Another one is sickness in the family. Maybe some specific terminal illness, especially those going through right now COVID, where you find maybe a specific member of the family has COVID. So what happens? The whole family has to go into isolation. You end up maybe risking losing your job. Your children may even end up getting maybe even where they go to school and they're not able even to understand what is going on because their dad is at home, locked in a room, wondering what is happening. And that also leads to trauma in a family. For example, the death of a loved one. For example, if someone died in the family, let's say, for example, we are going well with my husband and one day he just gets into an accident and dies. That could cause a certain stress in the family, both for me and my children. So those are some of the causes that are there that can cause stress in a family. There are, of course, very many causes of stress. Individual stresses, even your own stress could cause stress in the family. Maybe I'm going through a work stress at work. So when I come home, I'm so stressed. Everyone else is stressed because I'm stressed. So there are so many other causes, but those are the ones that, the most evident that I've seen even in my office, even as people come in to just talk about what they're going through.
Okay. All right, you have explained it very well. So still on stress, the way like you're saying, the mother-in-law comes over, people's sickness. So sometimes, like for example, if you're living with your spouse, there's this saying that people will say that, okay, once I've ever had like a friend who was saying something like, people usually mistake pain to love. So sometimes people cannot see the red flags whereby the environment you're in the home environment is stressful. So how can one identify a stressful environment at home? Like, like this is not love, this is a stressful environment, especially maybe for couples, for maybe boyfriend and girlfriend who are living together. So how can one identify like the home environment is stressful?
Okay, so there are signs and symptoms of stress, especially in the home environment. The first one is, of course, there is no harmony. Yeah, maybe the usual laughter, the usual joy. Have you ever just gone home? You're so stressed, but the place where you're going, you feel like it's more stressful than where you've come from. So you don't even want to go. So you find maybe you're living with your husband, and he used to be used to coming at home maybe by 8 p.m. in the evening. Now he comes home even at 1 a.m. even despite the curfew. So you find sometimes you're so stressed because you as a wife, you're wondering what is happening, where have I lost him, in the process. So of course there's no harmony in the family. You find maybe the children start to withdraw even from the family. They start to act out. You find a child maybe who used to be calm and everything, now all of a sudden is not able to even talk, is not able to even communicate with you. You ask them what's up, they just look at you like, me, I'm fine, and they go to their rooms. And that is when the social media becomes their friend. You find they're on their laptops, you find they're playing games that are, of course, maybe dangerous even to them. So you find there's not that harmony in the family. Maybe they used to have family dinners, for example. Maybe there was a time where you used to come together even as a family and just eat together. Now you no longer eat together. You find everyone eats at their own time. That could be a sign that, hey, seems there's something stressing us up. Another sign could be all of a sudden people are just getting today I'm sick, tomorrow it's you who is sick, today it's a headache. And most of the major physical symptoms of stress would be ulcers. Stress has something to do with the gastrointestinal region. So you find you'll have ulcers, a lot of acidity. It also affects the head. So you find sometimes you have headaches. You might find you have muscle tension. You're irritable. You're not able to sit still. It may also cause back pains and maybe other things. So you find today the husband is sick. Tomorrow it's the child who is sick. The other day, and a lot of cause that you're wondering what's happening. Why are we getting sick? So people are so under the weather. Yeah. Another sign of stress is whereby you find in the home environment, people are not sleeping well. For example, you find maybe at 4 a.m. in the morning, people are awake, You find you can hear your child is speaking over the phone. You find the wife is saying, I'm not able to sleep. So there could be something is stressing, especially a death of a loved one. That is one of the stresses that can cause even lack of sleep in the family. So you find maybe you lost your child. So the brother is very stressed because he lost a sister, for example. You as a couples, you're stressed because you've lost your child. So what happens is tends to be, people are not, you wonder what is happening. People are not able to sleep well, people are not able to eat well. You find the normal things that you used to do as a family, you're no longer doing. You're used to maybe on Sunday going to church together. All of a sudden it's like, oh no, today I'm not going to church, I'll go for the last mass, just to avoid, that stressful situation. Yeah, so those are some of the symptoms that you can look and say, oh, it seems our family is stressed and we need to do something.
All right, thank you. And also, sometimes people are usually happy, maybe when they're going to work, maybe some have become workaholics in a way. Can that be a sign of maybe avoidance of going home because of stressful situation? Because I know you've heard about this. A most common scenario whereby you see a spouse, like a husband, who goes to the bar, then comes back home drunk so that he sleeps, so that I can't hear the nagging wife. Such is also that a big sign. And also maybe some of them maybe are quiet with each other, or maybe regular conflicts. I think also that can be, and also mood of change of mood. Like maybe someone is happy, but once they're at home, they look frustrated, they look angry. So do you think also that can be a sign of stressful home environment?
Yeah, I feel, remember, in a homes are dynamic, yeah? So you'll find in a specific home environment, you'll find a stressful environment will be that they're yelling at each other, they are angry, they are talking all too much. Then you find in a specific home, because of a specific stressful environment, you find them, they're quiet, they're not talking to each other. People are distant. You find even the husband maybe or the wife does not come home after 2 days, and does not explain even where they are. They just say it's work. Early in the morning, even on Sunday, you find they're going to work because, one of the defense mechanism for stress is usually avoidance, where you try to avoid a specific situation. If I see a threat here, if I see this is a burglar, I won't go towards him. I'll try and go against him, yeah? So I'll try to avoid. And that's what happens even with the body. Once I know this is stressful, like for example, I know when I go home, my child will stress me up. Maybe there's something I've been meaning to buy, but I don't have the money to buy at this point, and I'm saving up to buy maybe that specific toy. So I know if I go home, my child will stress me up, yeah? So what do? I avoid my child at all costs. Maybe I wait for the time I enter the house when he's asleep. I leave the house before the child wakes up, just to avoid that kind of stress and to avoid that feeling of stress, because stress comes with a lot of feelings, anxiety, you feel tired, you feel especially overwhelming. Remember when I started, I said stress is something overwhelming. It's something that you're not able to control. You're not able to say, now I cannot be stressed today. Stress is something that we go through on our day-to-day activities. So it's important for us to know that some of the symptoms of stress vary from family to family. We could have a death in our family, for example, but that's the time we come together and try and bond together. But another family could have a death in the family and get stressed about it, you see. So those are two different scenarios. So it does not mean when there's a death in the family, there's stress automatically. Remember, we're all different. I could put you in the same situation. Maybe I could put you in a very stressful situation. Maybe a deadline is supposed to be met by tomorrow, and I put you in that situation, and for you don't get stressed. You actually become better. For me, maybe I don't like last minute, I don't like things that are done today and then tomorrow you're stressing me up. So what happens? These are two different people, and me, I'll get stressed. For you, you'll be okay, you see. But does not mean that I put down my stress and say, now it seems like this is not something to stress about and maybe I'm crazy and what. It is to understand that, yes, I can get stressed, and how exactly can I be able to manage my stress, because managing stress is the most important thing.
Right. Thank you so much. So to the last question, so you can also give us examples of stressful situations at home and how to deal with them, because let's just say the common ones that you've heard of, especially as a counselor. I'm sure there's some that it's common out there that people can relate to. One of them I know mostly is stress caused by spouses. So you can just give us examples then, ways to deal with them, a healthy way to deal with them.
So, of course, the most important one, the most common amount of stress is between spouses. You've even said it, where you find a spouse is not able to understand a spouse. And what I always tell couples when they come into sessions, because I also do family and relationship counseling, is that this is a human being. And a human being is dynamic. I cannot be the same from Monday to Friday. Today I'll be okay. Tomorrow I'll just feel like I don't feel like talking to you. It might not be because of you. Maybe something projection. Projection is another defense mechanism. A projector, what happens? You have your work on your laptop and it projects to a screen. So it's the same thing with projection. What happens is that maybe the stress is from workplace. Your employer, your colleague has stressed you out. So what happens? You come and project it to your spouse, because your spouse is someone maybe that you're so used to and you feel like, so it comes out negatively. So you find maybe you're stressed, you start shouting at him, maybe you tell him, you didn't even say hi to me today morning, and he's thinking, I said hi, what happened, But it's because of stress. So this is a human being, and this human being is a different person. You're not the same, you're not even related by blood. If we are not, if we can clearly say that we and our parents are so different, you find that you're okay with your parent today, by next week you've quarreled, you're back again. That's your parent, that's your blood. Now you can imagine someone who you met, someone who you don't really know, someone you've met for the first time, and now you're living together. Of course, it will bring a lot of stress. So with couples, it's normal to be stressed once in a while, but it's how you manage your stress. How do you manage your stress? Do you fly? Do you tell yourself, I'm going to use a flight response? Or do you even fight? Use abuse, for example. Use emotional words, where women always say that, words are more powerful. You'd rather slap me rather than tell me something like I'm stupid or I'm foolish or I'm crazy, because that will tarnish my name and hurt me for the rest of my life. So those are some of the stress examples. For example, couple relationship. There's also the stressful situation between a parent and a child, especially between father, son, mother, daughter. Why? Because of the genetic makeup. There's something called the Oedipus complex and the Electra complex, where we find the Oedipus complex is between the mother and the son. So when a child is born, when a boy is born, for example, what happens is that the mother gets completely attached to the boy. It's genes, we were created to be attracted to the opposite sex. So you'll find the mother is very close to the son. Again, the same thing with the daughter, which is the Electra complex. So you find the daughter is very close to the father. So there's usually a lot of stress between father and daughter and father and son and mother and daughter, because of course that competition. We are in a world where I don't want to see someone who is of my gender competing with me. So that's another very common where you find a father will come into your office and tell you, I'm tired. I'm tired of my son. I want to chase him out of the house. I'm tired. Or a mother will come and say, I'm not close with my daughter, and she keeps going to the father to talk to about things that I feel she should talk to me about. And I try to make them understand that it's normal. Yeah, if she's comfortable talking to the father, then it's okay, as long as she's talking to someone. Yeah. Then the other bigger what's it called? Another bigger conflict would be, maybe another stress would be between family members and other family members. For example, family members and extended family members. Yeah. So you find maybe I have stress because at home I'm not even wanted. Sometimes it happens, especially with culture, where you find maybe your spouse has not been accepted by your family because of their tribe, for example. So you find maybe they are Luya and you're Kikuyu, and of course those two, according to them, they don't match. So a lot of stress is in the home, because once you're planning a get together to go home, the wife is stressed immediately because she feels, wow, I'm going to that home where I'm not accepted. Another one is also parent and child relationships could cause a lot of stress. Maybe you find sometimes parents are quarreling with their children, especially teenagers. That one we all know. There's that phase where you just want to act out, you want to be yourself. So those are some of the things that could cause stress. Another maybe very important stress that I've seen nowadays, of course, because of COVID, is economic stress, where you find couples will come in, they have an issue together, but you find the thing that's really hitting them is because they don't have money. So you find they're stressed. Maybe the wife is saying, I used to have a job, now I don't have a job, I don't know what to do, I'm in the house, I'm stressed, because now she was used to waking up at 7, coming back home, in the evening. Now there's nothing she can do. So you find there's that kind of stress. Yeah. So I'll look at one of them. I'll look at the relationship, the one of spouse to spouse, and try and see how can we be able to to manage stress, because managing stress is the most important thing. We all know it's stress. It's like saying, we all know there's food. How will I eat that food? Will I eat it with a spoon? Will I eat it with a fork? Will I eat it with a knife? What will I eat it with? Yeah. So that's the same thing with stress. So how do we manage stress? So first I'll start with an acronym that I like to use, which is called Bring Back to My Original Self. And this happens to any other stress. Does not even have to be home stress. Yeah. And the first R is relax. Whenever you're in a situation of stress, especially, you need to relax, because most times we work too much and we don't relax. What is relaxing? Relaxing is doing something that you feel, that is not work, that you want to relax. Maybe you take a day off just to go to the movies, or you take a day off to go bowling, or you take a day off to go to the supermarket if you love maybe doing window shopping and all that, especially for ladies. What do you like to do? Look at what you like to do, because it will help you to relax. If you feel the stress is at home, for example, between your spouse, look for a way in which you can get some time off together and just go and breathe the air and do everything and just relax. My parents' anniversary is coming up next week, and I was asking myself, what is the best thing I can do for the two of them? And I realized life has become so busy. My mom is working, my dad is working, we are working. Sometimes we even don't see each other. And I realized the best thing you can do for parents at that age, because they've turned 25 years, is to look for an opportunity in which they can go out together, for a night out together, have dinner, relax together without, distractions of, what am I going to do at work? And the way they've embraced it is just amazing. Yeah. So another thing is, E is for eating well. Stress has something to do with your diet. Once you eat well, there's a way stress reduces. Especially, we all know, before you do some very heavy work, people say you have to eat well. Yeah. Eating a balanced diet, I don't mean junk food. Some people tend to release stress by eating junk food, fries, burgers, pizza and all that. That also causes you to have a low kind of mood or energy. The next one is sleep. Sleeping well, ensuring that you sleep well. Take the 8 hours of sleep. I know 8 hours is ambiguous. You can do 6 hours, depending on also you as a human being. Yeah. The other one is talk therapy. Most important thing about stress is talking about it. If you feel I'm stressed with my son, I'm a father and my son is stressing me up. So what do? I reach out to him and tell him there are some things that I would want us to talk about. Is there a problem? And he'll tell you, by the way, Dad, you're never around, so I feel I'm more close to Mom, Or if it's in a family situation, you find the wife saying, all of a sudden, these days you don't care about me. You used to call me maybe every day. Nowadays, we are far from each other. We're having a long distance relationship. You call me once in a while, and sometimes this is stressing me up. Talk therapy. Then another one is organizing your work, ensuring that your work is organized and ensuring that everything is up to schedule, because an organized plan helps you to move along. The other one is rest, ensuring that you rest well, breathing in, breathing out, trying to take times off. Don't work throughout. You can't work 7 days in a week. Take some time off. Sometimes when you feel you need a break, there are those things that you call in organization leave. So when you're doing a business, don't don't ignore that. Ensure that even for you take some time off. It does not have to be the week, or does not have to be a month. It could be even 2 days where you just take time off. And then the last one is exercise. Ensuring that you just exercise, and ensure if, for example, you feel my communication with my wife has gone down of late, take time, take a walk. It could help to bring out some emotion, yeah. And the most important thing is, if you feel the stress has become too much, look for someone, a professional, yeah, counseling psychologist like myself, just to talk about what exactly is stressing you up, especially things to do with death of a loved one, or something traumatic like maybe a rape incident or sexual harassment. That may need a more experienced kind of sessions to help you just to talk about it and move on. So that is one of the examples I could give, and maybe some of the ways that you can manage stress, and just be able to know that stress is normal. It's a normal part of life, but it's how do you manage that stress. Yeah.
Right. So thank you so much. You've really explained it well. And I think also there's this thing that people really focus so much on work, and they leave home. Like they leave the home environment at a shambolic situation, because sometimes you can feel like someone is really dressed well, looks really nice, but at home everyone is looking stressful. Like you just feel there's no investment done at home. So I feel like it's really important, whenever there's any issues happening at home, it's every family member has a say. Even the youngest kid there has a say. I think especially for parents who are the alpha, who are the decision makers, they should listen to their kids. They should have, I think families should have like a meeting and say, do you think there's anything that parents should ask their kids? Do you think there's anything that me as a parent, I'm not doing right? And then the kids should let them know if there's any issue. And the parents should not complain about what the kids, because sometimes a kid can say something, then parents will be like, no, that's disrespect. I think we should have a situation whereby we respect each other, we listen to each other at home, both parents and adults. And also another thing is that I feel like at home it should be a safe place for everyone, because if you have stress at work, at least home is where you will have your own peace. So I think everyone, even the young couples, the biggest investment one should make is at home. The home environment is the safest place one can run to, and I believe that it's the place whereby people can seek shelter whenever any stressful situation comes. So thank you, Lorna, for that insight that you've given us today about managing home stress, and hope to see you soon in another episode, because as I told you the last time, you're our favorite counselor and people love you as our guest, and you always explain everything so well. So thank you so much. To our viewers out there, thank you for tuning in to today's episode, and hope to see you next time. As always, remember to like, subscribe, and share. Thank you, and have a good day.